A spectacular 81-degree day in the Valley of the Sun at Phoenix International Raceway, where NASCAR Sprint Cup Series qualifying is set to begin for the final race of the Eliminator Round. 4 drivers will make it through to compete for a championship next week. 4 drivers' title hopes will be eliminated on Sunday. The process of gaining track position begins here at the Desert Mile shortly. And hello from Phoenix, I'm Alan Bestwick. We'll focus our coverage on the track and on qualifying momentarily. First, though, an update on a story that has been developing throughout the afternoon across the NASCAR community. Police in Dover, Delaware say they are investigating a complaint filed against driver Kurt Busch, a complaint of domestic abuse filed by him by his ex-girlfriend Patricia Driscoll, alleging an incident occurred September 26th at Dover International Speedway in Kurt's motorhome. Important to note here, no charges have been filed at this time. The Associated Press is reporting that according to documents they've obtained, Driscoll has asked a judge to order Busch to stay away from her and not contact her. She's also asked Busch be ordered to undergo a psychiatric evaluation and be evaluated by a certified domestic violence treatment agency. These documents were filed Wednesday. They also say that Busch was despondent after a poor performance in qualifying, was verbally abusive to her, and said he wished he had a gun so that he could kill himself. That last line, a quote from the documents. The documents also say that Busch called Driscoll names and accused her of having spies everywhere, having a camera on the bus to watch him, then jumped up, grabbed her face, and smashed her head 3 times against the wall next to the bed. Again, these according to the court documents. Driscoll says she pushed Busch away and ran from the bedroom, going to a nearby bus to put an ice pack on her head and neck. She said the incident caused her severe pain, difficulty breathing, and bruising on her neck. A hearing in the case has been scheduled for December 2nd. Earlier today, the attorney representing Kurt Busch, lawyer Rusty Harden, issued a statement on behalf of Kurt saying, and we quote, "The Dover Police Department has been informed that Mr. Busch will fully cooperate with their investigation, and he expects to be vindicated when the entire truth of the situation comes to light. This allegation is a complete fabrication by a woman who has refused to accept the end of a relationship, and Mr. Busch vehemently denies her allegations in every respect. At this time, we intend to have no further comment in the media out of respect for the Dover Police Department's desire to conduct a thorough investigation without a media circus." NASCAR issuing a statement earlier today on the matter. NASCAR's Senior Vice President and Chief Communications Officer Brett Jukes saying that NASCAR is aware of the investigation involving driver Kurt Busch. We recognize the seriousness of this matter and are actively gathering information from all parties, including law enforcement authorities and Stewart-Haas Racing. It would be inappropriate for NASCAR to comment further on the matter until we have more information. And finally, Stewart-Haas Racing issuing a statement from its spokesman Mike Arning earlier today saying this is an allegation Stewart-Haas Racing takes very seriously, but we're still gathering all of the facts and are not in a position to comment in greater detail. Kurt will be aboard the 41 car when NASCAR Sprint Cup Series qualifying begins momentarily. There, Kurt walking toward the car now on the pit lane here at Phoenix International Raceway. We turn our attention to the on-track competition when we come back. Back live, Phoenix International Raceway, where NASCAR Sprint Cup Series qualifying will get underway momentarily. Drivers go into the post to grab important upfront starting spots for the second-to-last race of the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Alan Bestwick joined now by champion driver and former Phoenix winner Dale Jarrett and champion crew chief Andy Petrie. And when we last left you last Sunday in Texas, there were a lot of interesting things going on. A spectacular conclusion to the Texas race, and then all the stuff that happened post-race. We take you back to Jeff Gordon leading the race late, looking like he's in terrific shape to try and clinch a win, advance himself into the championship round, and then circumstances completely turned around.
Yeah, he sure did. He got a great push from Tony Stewart from that outside lane there, but then Clint Boyer, a little problem here off of turn 4, into the wall, parts and pieces flying off this car, and brings out a caution flag that Jeff Gordon didn't want to see.
And that set up a restart between Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson again on the front row, but Jeff leaves just enough for that 2-car Brad Keselowski to put his car into the hole.
Jeff went on to have a cut tire, spin out, lose a lap coming to pit road when some of the chaos and confusion wound up finishing way down in the field in 29th place, and then after the race pulled up to have a discussion with Brad Keselowski, and some others joined in.
Well, you can't just have a discussion. Well, they thought they were going to, and then Kevin Harvick decided that Brad needed to be in the discussion a little more, and then a lot happened from there between crew members and drivers.
NASCAR is suspending some crew members this week, but no penalties being issued to the involved drivers themselves. As a driver behind the wheel in that situation in a race, do you question the actions of Brad Keselowski in any way?
No, I really don't. It's time to win the race there. If I were Jeff Gordon, yeah, I'd be mad because I got run into and my tire got cut down. But we don't have to have blame for every one of these racing incidents. It's racing, and sometimes you get yourself in a position at 150 or 60 miles an hour, you just can't slam on the brakes and stop. You have to make that commitment. He made his commitment. It was time to try to win, and so you go after it. Yeah, I feel bad for Jeff, and I'm sure Jeff would tell you I'd do this differently the next time, but things just happen sometimes.
And the interesting thing that I found was in the opening race of the chase, Brad went through the middle, a 3-wide pass for the win, and he was the hero at that point. Circumstances were different at Texas, and certainly the outcome was.
Yeah, but Brad Keselowski's proven that he's willing to do what it takes to win, to go rounds. He's had his back against the wall before. He was at Talladega. He had a chance to save his season right here. He's not going to get into this to the final round of this chase if he doesn't do something on this restart. He feels like he has to do whatever it takes to win.
You can see right here that it was just that bit of Jeff Gordon on this, trying to make a good arc into the corner. Now, Brad saw that as an opening when he's going to make that arc. Jeff's intention was to get right back down to the quarter panel, as we can see right here, to the 48 car. But as Brad Keselowski looks at that, and I look at that as a driver, I'm going for that. That's my opportunity right there to try to win this race.
But the door closed. Gordon got the cut tire, the spin, and the rest as we saw it unfold. Now, one other element that might have come into this.
Yeah, you see how these guys have been pulling these sides of these cars out to make a little extra downforce. NASCAR's been allowing them to do that and not really regulating this. It happened on pit stop. All of the cars, almost every car in the field has this skirt. It's aluminum on the right side. It's sticking out like a knife. You can see it on the 2 car right here as he goes into that gap. That piece of metal is really like a knife that cuts those tires, especially on the left sides of the cars of the other car. The left side of the car has a plastic skirt, so it's not necessarily going to cut a tire, but that right there is what's causing these tires to go down.
So the end result, if you look at those closing 30 laps of the race at Texas, right, just before Joey Logano had his problems, here were the championship standings. Look at the gaps involved as they ran at that point with 29 laps to go. Carl Edwards in real trouble there, right? Brad Keselowski in real trouble.
Yeah.
And some of these top 4 with a substantial lead on the cut line.
They were just going to kind of have to come here and ride around at Phoenix. Not necessarily just ride around, but they were in really good shape until we got to the final.
And now look at that. Everybody is within 18 points. Everyone can advance, or everyone can be left out at the end of Sunday's race here in Phoenix. Down to pit road and Jamie Little.
Well, we're under much calmer circumstances this time getting ready for qualifying. You've had a few days to sleep on things, think about it. What's your takeaway from the events at Texas?
I think I need to go win Phoenix and Homestead. That's our goal. I want to come here and put up a great effort and hopefully a win. That's really the only thing that will guarantee us the next round and a shot at the championship. So Kevin Harvick's been really, really fast. This is probably his best track, and we know it. So, Jamie, we need to have a really strong performance if we're going to get in the top 4 in advance. That probably will take a win, but at the very least we need to run up front, lead laps, and be in contention.
You told me yesterday the best way to avoid retaliation is to outrun them and be up front. Is your car good enough to qualify you up front?
So far, we're 3rd fastest in practice. We had the pole here in the spring. I think we've got a great car for qualifying. We still have some work to do to be as good as we want to be with the Miller Lite Ford in race trim, but we'll work on it.
Took a licking, keeps on ticking. Those were the words of Brad Keselowski. Let's go over to Dave Burns.
Thanks, Jamie. And Jeff Gordon addressed the media earlier today and said, in essence, he doesn't have a problem with the driver making a bold and aggressive move if he wins the race. And then even if he's the guy that gets a little roughed up, he'd be okay with that. But when you don't win the race and you ruin another guy's day, that's where he wants to stop and have a conversation. There might be consequences, as Jeff stated to the media. Now, Jeff had some team members suspended for their actions following, which we have all now seen. The good thing for the 24 crew is that the guys who are replacing him, an underneath mechanic, a hauler driver, and an engine tuner, have all been on the road this year or recently. The problem is, of course, and Jeff alluded to it in his press conference, you build a team to go win a championship, and right now they've got to do some things to adapt to these new guys. Jeff said it is going to affect us, but we have to dig deep, and we'll go try to get this championship. Alan?
All right, Dave, thanks. So there the story from Texas leading us up to the beginning of qualifying today. And the cars hit the track here at Phoenix next. Back live, Phoenix International Raceway, where the cars are about to hit the track for NASCAR Sprint Cup Series qualifying to set the starting order for the 9th race in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Green flag is out. The opening session, mile track, so it's 2 sessions of qualifying today. 30 minutes, 10-minute break, top 12 with a 10-minute session to run for the pole. And those important pit stall picks also. Practice, fast.
Yeah, practice is very fast, and you see those shadows that are starting to fall over the racetrack. It's going to cause a little bit of vision problems, but it will probably cool the racetrack. As a matter of fact, it has shaded the entire turns 1 and 2. So they might pick it up even more.
Sorry, Andy, they just set the track record in the March race here. 18 cars ran a lap faster than that track record in practice earlier today.
Yeah, we're getting ready to see that really just shattered here probably. The only real problem these drivers have right now is you can see the front stretch has a lot of sunshine on it. As you go down into turn 1, you're looking right into that. It really does affect you in trying to hit your mark as to where you want to let off, that you'd kind of got in that field. So it makes it very, very difficult. A lot of speed you carry down there.
Here's your first car to set a time in the session, A.J. Allmendinger. It's 26-27. That's a bit off the pace of the track record.
I think it may take a little bit of time. The last thing that we had were the trucks on track qualifying, but the track's been setting for a while. And whenever that happens, it just seems like it brings some of the oil up out of the asphalt, and you never get the speed that you're looking for these first few laps.
Tony Stewart, top of the board, 25.86. Jeff Gordon with a 25.91. The number we're looking for is a 25.82. which is the track record that was set by Brad Keselowski in the second round of qualifying here back at the end of February, beginning of March.
One thing that happens too with this tire, it gets a little bit quicker the more laps you run. You can run up to 3, maybe even 4 laps and get quicker.
There we go.
Jeff Gordon's done that on his second lap.
And your new track record already.
By 0.3 of a second. Not even close.
Justin Allgaier with a solid lap.
Hey, that sun is tough.
I heard that somewhere a few minutes ago. Before I say it, let me look it up. I believe qualifying's about an hour later than it was a year ago. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I'll confirm that and get back to you. And take my public flogging if I am wrong. Because I opened my mouth.
This is one of those racetracks, history has shown that it really does pick up at the late afternoon when the track really cools down. It's I used to want to really get a late draw. It'd make a lot of difference here. Now that they do it all together, that advantage kind of goes away, but there may be some people that wait a little while before they go out.
J.J. Yaley, one of a few Arizona natives that will be in the field, and J.J. just running the 8th fastest lap so far. Dave?
Guy who's had a really good chase is Ryan Newman, but a really poor practice this morning. Only 27th quick on the board. So I checked in with the team of the 31 car before he took to the track this afternoon. He's still waiting to take his first laps out here, and Luke Lambert said the car was just tight. They never got it where they wanted to for Ryan. They'll have to overcome some things and throw a little bit at it here to get a good position for the starting lineup.
Well, I heard that a lot in the garage this afternoon. Is tight, getting it hard. Car's really hard to get to turn.
Yeah, you have to be really careful here, though, when you're qualifying. I know that qualifying is a little different than just going out there single cars at a time, but you start loosening the car up. The way this racetrack changes, it heats up throughout the afternoon. You have more activity. We had a nationwide practice trucks qualifying. You find yourself really sideways and can't get to the throttle, and then you are in real trouble.
By the way, I was wrong. It didn't start an hour later than it did last year. It started an hour and 5 minutes later than it did last year.
Yeah.
Tomorrow here at Phoenix, will Chase Elliott become the NASCAR Nationwide Series champion? Or will it go down to the final race in Homestead in another week? We're on the air on ESPN at 3:30 Eastern Time with the NASCAR Nationwide Series race from here in the Valley of the Sun. Sunday, Chase race number 9, the Quicken Loans Race for Heroes 500, ESPN 2 Eastern Time. Which 4 drivers will advance to the championship round? Which 4 will see their championship hopes end? Oh no, by the way, who wins the race? All of that still to come this weekend from here in Phoenix. Little different look to Kyle Busch's car this weekend here at Phoenix, but that is the 18 on the racetrack.
picked it up on that second lap, just 0.03 off of Gordon. Brian Vickers just 1,000th of a second, I believe.
And so the 16 drivers that have run so far, Austin Dillon is on the racetrack now. David Reagan is also on the racetrack for the moment. Kevin Harvick, very fast in practice. In fact, the fastest in practice earlier today and coming out onto the racetrack now. 5 wins here for Kevin, including the race here in March when he dominated. Once he finally took the lead at like lap 74, he led all but 15 of the rest of the laps once he got to the front.
I don't know if you saw it there, but he actually had his hand up to shield the sun as he was going down the front straightaway. Shows you just how bad it is trying to be able to get to that point that he could see. His lap in practice is about 1/10 faster than what Jeff Gordon has put up there.
That's a great first lap. Takes him up to the top of the board with a 5:06.
Gordon's fastest lap was the second of a run, but it looks like Kevin's going to call it good after one. Joey Logano has just gone out and put a number that's even faster than Harvick's.
Wow, and a lot quicker, too.
That's a 1/2 second faster than the old track record.
Well, that just shows you how much they've learned about this new rules package in this car since we were here, quite a few months ago.
It's March 2nd when they ran the race, so it was February 28th when they had qualifying. And lots happened since then, obviously. Here's Ryan Newman. Heard the update from pit road on this 31 a little bit ago. And Newman's 6th out of 20 that have run.
Yeah, that'll probably require another effort at it, I would say.
Yeah, but it's still a lot quicker than he ran in practice. That's almost, it's at least a couple of tenths quicker. 1/4 of a second quicker than he ran in practice.
So as Newman slows down, Kyle Larson comes off the pit lane. Denny Hamlin also coming out. Martin Truex on the racetrack.
Truex, another car that was fast during that practice session.
And Martin, the 6th fastest lap in practice earlier.
Not getting it out of this lap right here, though.
Enough to get him into the top 12 at the moment. So here's Kyle Larson, who is 2nd fastest in practice. That'll be 10th for Kyle on his first lap. Denny Hamlin is also out. Denny 11th on his first lap. Larson running a second one. Hamlin also going to run another one.
Talked to Denny a little bit. He was encouraged a lot by their practice session today. He wasn't looking forward to this race that much, he said, when he came. Their test just wasn't what he wanted. And he said, but today, he said, we brought some stuff back after we went back and looked at everything. He said, I feel a lot better about our chances on Sunday.
Larson jumps to 2nd. Hamlin jumps to 7th. Here's Matt Kenseth. There's Matt in 9th. On the first of his laps. We'll see if he can pick it up on the second. Jumps a couple of spots. Dale Jr. is on the racetrack now. First lap for Jr., 22nd fastest. This is his second lap you're looking at now.
The car didn't look all that stable down in turns 1 and 2.
Brad Keselowski rolling from the pit lane. Jimmy Johnson rolling from the pit lane.
I don't think Junior's going to be happy with that one.
Puts him right on the bubble. Jamie McMurray, 14th. Here's Brad Keselowski starting a run. We'll see if he can come close to or top his Penske teammate Joey Logano.
Now, they two were on the front row here back in February.
So you had all this stuff going on around you at the end of the race last Sunday, and all the swirl going on all week, and now you come here and you're being asked about it and so on. Does it have an effect on you and on your race team as you go about trying to execute this race?
No, if you're a driver, you know that you have to put that out. That was second fastest for Keselowski right there, as you can see. But no, you put that aside. You know, you talk about it, and once you get out of that media center or away from those cameras, away from the media, it's gone. It's forgotten. He's not thinking anything about that whatsoever. You go do the job. He understands what he has to get done this weekend.
And Andy, I said to you the other day, and you jumped in and very much agreed that his team has his back.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I talked to him just this afternoon in the garage area, and they couldn't emphasize that anymore. They said they wouldn't want any other driver in that 2-car than Brad Keselowski, that he gives them 100%, and they know that if they've got a chance to win, he's going to do whatever it takes.
Here's Carl Edwards out for a run.
People are saying that something's pretty tough there coming down the front stretch. Just let you know. You want to put a little bit more on? That's up to you. It's starting to shade back this way, but Jeff Gordon said it was pretty tough. Yeah, that's pretty bad, Carl, from the flag stand on to your entry into turn 1. It'll blind you for a second, I would think.
Carl Edwards not able to make the top 12 on his first lap, but got a number going that might get him into above the cut line here on the second lap.
If he can make this exit here, he'll be in pretty good shape.
Oh, yeah. Looks like he's going to be pretty solid 9th.
Jimmy Johnson, the second lap here for Jimmy. First one was 23rd, second is 12th. Casey Kane now. Casey, Marcus Ambrose, Danica Patrick, Casey Mears, Clint Boyer, Greg Biffle, Paul Menard, Mike Bliss, Kurt Busch, Eric Almirola, Mike Wallace. Those are the drivers that have yet to run. Brian Newman now on the bubble as Jimmy Johnson goes up into the top 12.
And Jimmy Johnson did that run in 3 laps.
Yep. Casey's second lap just below the cut line. See if he goes for 3. Here's Danica. Busy hands there in the center of that corner. Danica said coming into the weekend that she just hoped to leave here with a car in one piece, because the last few races she's been swept up into incidents and obviously not had the kind of day she was hoping for. So Casey Kane is 13th, didn't make the cut. There you see Danica 24th. Now Greg Biffle and Kurt Busch come onto the racetrack.
See that car really wiggle down in 1 and 2. First laps. A lot of these teams are using sticker tires. Some of them scuffed them in a little bit, but a lot of them are going to use this first session to scuff their tires.
Yeah, Kurt Busch was 4th quickest in practice, so expect him to be one of the cars that will run for the pole.
Into the top 12, bumps Newman out.
The lap is a lot smoother through that corner. See how that translates to speed.
Now down to 6 drivers that have not posted a time as Kurt goes for a second lap here.
A little quicker.
Into 9th place for Kurt Busch. Jamie?
And his teammate Kevin Harvick 4th on the board. We showed the one and only run that he had. He was actually holding his hand up and trying to shade the sun as he went down the front stretch into turn 1. Here it is. As if he doesn't have enough going on, here he is shading his face from the sun so he can see his entrance to turn 1. So he came in and he said, yes, please put some tape. Good old-fashioned duct tape will do the trick right there. Taped him up with a couple of strips there, and he will go back out for another run. The sun is getting better, almost completely shaded on the front stretch and into turn 1, Alan. So that's good news for these guys.
It's tough.
Yeah, it's getting down close to behind the grandstand and the suites that are over there right now, so they don't have to deal with it too much longer. And NASCAR will allow during qualifying for you to put that tape on the outside of the windshield.
Yeah, if you look at those track temps, you see it's 93 in the sun and 87 in the shade, and it's still quite a bit cooler than it was in practice in both places.
And those air temps quite a bit nicer than it is in a lot of the country today.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, well,
I'm just saying.
Not complaining about that.
Paul Menard has cracked the top 12. Up into the 10th spot, puts Denny Hamlin out. Jimmy Johnson on the bubble. Here's Austin Dillon. This is a second run for Austin. Already made a 2-lap run earlier, and now out for another 2-lap run here.
Yeah, just looking at this, you're going to have to run something down in probably the low 25 50s in that range if you're going to move on to the next round. Jimmy Johnson's time is a 25.64 there in that 12th spot.
And the lap for Austin is a little bit slower than the one before. Austin Dillon in 16th place. Joey Logano leads. Tomorrow, and here at Phoenix International Raceway on the southwest side of downtown in Avondale, Arizona, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series qualifying ongoing with Joey Logano setting a new track record in the opening round. Seeing Denny Hamlin get pushed out for another go, and Dave Burns is with Joey Logano now.
And I want to ask Joey to describe that first lap and then why you took a second, because the first lap was pretty darn good.
Yeah, I think we weren't really too sure going out. We went out fairly early, and we weren't sure what was going to be good enough to make it. A lot of the fast cars haven't gone yet, so yeah, I wish we didn't run that second lap, but overall, the Shell Penzo Ford obviously has got a lot of speed in it. The tough part is you can't see anything. I mean, it's you're completely blind going into turn one, and you figure out where you are once you're in the corner. Not the best feeling in the world, but you know, overall, I think our car is good, like I said, and we'll make the right adjustments. I don't think that lap will hurt us too much.
Good luck in round two.
Thank you.
Joey currently still first, AB.
142 miles an hour at Phoenix. Who'd have thought?
It's amazing the speed they're getting out of these cars.
Yeah. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. only down in 35th. Trying to pick it up here on another run for the former Nationwide Series champ. Denny Hamlin has also come back onto the racetrack to see if he can find a way into the top 12.
Yeah, with time getting relatively short, just under 7 minutes. Jimmy Johnson's hanging on in that 12th spot.
Yes, I thought a few more might bump those out and have to get into, as I said, into those 25 50s.
That's the beginning of a run there for Denny. And you see our time comparison is against the bubble spot, Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, I think there goes Jimmy Johnson.
Sure looking like it. Yeah, this is going to be an outstanding lap for him. I'll call him off after this one, I believe.
Can you say second?
Wow.
Now let's see if they called him off. Yes, they did. So Carl Edwards now down onto the bubble. Jimmy Johnson out. 6 minutes to go in this opening round of qualifying today.
And so far in that top 12, all of the chasers, the 8 chasers are in there except for Newman. I expect him to make another run.
It's funny thinking about Denny as we watch A.J. Allmendinger look to see if he can get back into the top 12. A.J. the very first car to post a result. Thinking about Denny, he talked about, you know, if we could get through to these final 3 races, they're all great racetracks for us. Okay, what about Texas? Well, it wasn't the day we were expecting to happen, but then it was that way for a lot of other people. Well, here at Phoenix, right now looking good, at least in this first round of qualifying. And if he can get on to Homestead Miami Speedway, he's had a lot of success there in the past. Now, I know past performance is not a guarantee of future outcomes. Is that the quote from the stock commercials?
Future results, I think.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure of that, but I can tell you that results from his test session in Homestead were he was excited about that, very much so. Felt like that they had learned a lot about their mile-and-a-half program, and that he was looking forward. If he could get in that Final Four, he certainly thought that he had a great chance to win this championship.
Hard to believe that Toyota's only won twice this whole season.
Yeah, that's a real shocker to me. I mean, especially after the season we saw Matt Kenseth have, winning all the races. You know, didn't see that coming.
Not since the, first race at Talladega, I believe that was, right?
That was when Denny won. David Reagan. A lot of folks wondering just how tricky this Phoenix racetrack would be on Sunday afternoon with the rather hard tire that Goodyear has to bring here for these cars and the speeds they're carrying, the relatively new pavement on this racetrack and so on. How much width will the Racing Groove gain? Is there going to be an opportunity to pass, I'll say cleanly, or is it going to be where you're going to have to rough somebody up to get by, period?
I think they're going to be willing and waiting if that's what they need to do. And, you know, I was talking to Elliott Sadler this morning before the nationwide practice, and he said, you know, something else you need to think about, and we always do talk about it. He said, but just think about that, being able to race on the apron here. What kind of situation? I said, well, you're one that can speak to that as good as anyone with getting taken out here a few years ago battling for a championship. He said that could be the turning point of the championship battle and who gets in and who doesn't.
Tony Stewart. 28th right now.
Whoa. That car's not very stable through that corner.
Yeah, and that wasn't a proper say. That was a big wiggle. That wasn't nothing little about that.
You saw he had the green tracker compared to Carl Edwards until that moment.
And that messes up the next lap, too, because you're having to be out of the throttle right there, not carrying the speed that you need. So it hurts you there and then messes up the next one.
I'm just guessing when you've got your hands at 10 and 2 in a race car and your right hand ends up down by your right thigh that it's not a good thing?
Not a good thing, no.
I think track's getting ready to get pretty busy now with just under 3 minutes.
Yeah, where they've been waiting to kind of make sure that they had a nice clean lap. We're going to see a lot of activities, probably a few laps even getting messed up possibly.
So Carl Edwards on the bubble. Dale Earnhardt Jr. heading out onto the racetrack. In fact, there's a whole line of them down there at the exit of the pit lane. And Ryan Newman on the clock.
And there's common courtesy involved in this, but no rules as to what you can do. Pulling out in front of somebody, or you may happen to you.
I think as we've seen a couple of times in this chase, common courtesy and etiquette are two very much interpretable items.
Yeah, for sure.
Newman, 18th. Did not pick up any speed on that lap. Has a good 1 and 2 going, but right there, the timing pendulum swings back the other way.
And that tells you probably even
Casey Mears.
He rolled fast there. Look at Mears go up in there.
Bumps Carl Edwards. Casey Mears jumps into the top 12.
See Newman power sliding it off the corner, trying to get something out of it. Just not going to get there.
All right, new number to shoot for Junior. And he is not able to pick it up. So Jimmy Johnson and Carl Edwards both back on the racetrack. Martin Truex back out also, trying to pick up into the top 12. One minute to go.
Jimmy's hanging right around there. He's going to have to make a really good 3 and 4 here.
I think if he does,
half a tenth.
I could expect him to run another lap. You know, he ran 3 laps the first time out, ran faster every time. So I expect him to make another one after this one.
He lost a good bit between turns 3 and 4 there.
Here's Carl Edwards. Just based on how these trackers are running, it looks like Casey Mears had a really excellent run from the center off of 4.
Yes, exactly.
Going.
Because you get guys that are matching the numbers. Whoa, big wiggle there.
Yep.
Matching the numbers through 1 and 2 until they get to 3, and then it's going the other way.
Carl really struggling on the exit of both ends, it looks like.
And Jimmy did run another lap. a little bit slower.
Not going to do it for Carl. Flags are out.
You can take another one if you need it. You can keep going if you need to. Watch the water.
All the guys running 5 and 6 and 7 laps were not able to go any faster than they went on their second and third laps. So Carl Edwards, 13th. Clay Rogers will be the one to not make the race, and there are the top 12 that will advance on to the final round of knockout qualifying today at Phoenix.
Yeah, great job by Paul Menard and Casey Mears there to get themselves involved in this second round.
6 of the 8 chasers make the top 12. Carl Edwards and Ryan Newman are the 2 that don't. You see Carl in 13th place and Newman down in 20th. A big wiggle Tony Stewart had there, not helping him advance. And again, it'll be the 41st fastest car, the 75 of Clay Rogers, lowest in owner's points, that does not qualify for this race. Tomorrow here in Phoenix, the potential championship crowning day for Chase Elliott and the NASCAR Nationwide Series 200-miler. Of course, Regan Smith will try and see if he can keep that from happening. It is tomorrow on ESPN at 3:30 Eastern from here in Phoenix. Sunday, race 9 in the Chase, and the final race in the Eliminator round, the Quicken Loans Race for Heroes 500. Start with NASCAR Countdown at 2 Eastern Time. Still yet to find out who will be on the pole for that race, but we know that 6 of the 8 championship eligible drivers still have made the transfer into the top 12. The other 2, Ryan Newman and Carl Edwards, will start in 20th and 13th places respectively. Dave?
Catching up with Ryan now. Ryan, what were the issues in qualifying? And then during practice earlier today, did you have some race runs that give you confidence about Sunday?
Yeah, I think for my first qualifying run was like everybody else's. You couldn't see getting in turn 1, and the second one I never got it quite right. And we were off a little bit in practice and qualifying trim, and felt like we were decent in race trim. Our first race run off the truck was pretty good with the Cat Mining Chevrolet, but today's over with. We qualified 10 spots better than we practiced, I think. So if we get another 10 more tomorrow, we'll be in good shape.
Where does the focus need to lie tomorrow in your thoughts as far as the car is concerned?
Just making it drive good. You only get so many options here to pit and work on your race car, so you better have it good that first run.
Ryan Newman, the April 2010 winner at this very track. Jamie Little.
And Jimmy Johnson has a handful of wins at this place too, but you're going to qualify 15th. You guys just seem like you were off a little bit in practice and you changed a lot. What were you missing here in qualifying?
Yeah, we've been making some big swings at it, trying to get the car right. We came up for a couple days and tested, and didn't find much there, and came back with a different concept, and have tried to work through that here today. But qualifying trim, it's not what we need. So we'll go back to the drawing board and work harder on it and try to find some more speed.
And I heard Chad talking to you about why'd you run 3 laps. Well, the car was getting better, so is there something in that? Is there a little bit of speed there?
It ended up being our fastest lap. You would think that you wouldn't go faster with the tires sat hot, but the car was just coming around and had better drive off as I ran each lap. And I knew that I had a good 1 and 2 before he called me in. And I thought, I'll just finish 3 and 4. The water temp isn't too hot and see what happens. And it ended up being our fastest lap.
What's it like for you? We were just talking. You spent a little bit of time out here on the West Coast. Where you're from, what's it like for you just to come back out here?
It's great. I've seen a lot of old friends already. Was able to get close to home. Was up in the LA area for a few days doing some work. I went to Las Vegas for the SEMA show and unveiled the 71 Corvette Stingray that I built with Chevrolet. So I've definitely had some fun, had a little bit of sun, spent some great time with my family, and looking forward to a good run here in Phoenix and getting back to the East Coast. My daughters haven't figured out the time zone thing and how that works, so there's been some very early mornings, but we'll get back home and that'll all fall back in line.
And by the way, this guy was the winner of last weekend's race, so congratulations to Jimmy Johnson. Alan?
Yeah, oh, by the way. So Jimmy is going to start this race on Sunday from 15th position. Denny Hamlin getting ready to go out for the final round of qualifying, seeking pole position. Dave?
Had to take a couple of swings at it in round 1. What do you know about your race car, and how far can you advance, you think?
We're not going to be any worse than 12th. We know that. We know that much. So, we were able to pick up enough there, and I wanted to try to get it all on that first lap to try to save a little bit of tires. So, you know, it's going to put us obviously at a little deficit this round, having a few more laps on our tires, but still a bonus. This is all going to be a bonus from compared to where we were. So the way I see it, 8th or better is really going to be a good goal for us here this next round. But proud of the FedEx Ground team working on it, getting that adjustment better, and mainly just being able to see into turn 1 was the biggest factor of being able to hit a smooth lap there.
Yeah, you may not know this, but Harvick actually had his hand up like this, so we're glad you kept both on the wheel, by the way. Denny, going into round 2, AB.
Denny second fastest in the first round of the knockout qualifying. And you see here at Phoenix, has pretty solid record, although the last 2 races have been somewhat troublesome for him. Win Sunday's going to be huge for whoever it is that gets it. Maybe even the cacti will be applauding if it's Denny. Live at Phoenix International Raceway, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series qualifying, getting ready for the second and final round today. 12 drivers, 1 pole position at stake, and those critical starting positions for Sunday's 9th race in the chase. Joey Logano fastest in the first round with Denny Hamlin second and Brad Keselowski third.
And sun looking there, Joe.
She's gone, buddy. She's behind the mountains.
Good to know.
Huge temperature change right when the sun got behind the mountain.
Track's open for the 10-minute final session, and the temperature change certainly to be adjusted for as you can by these crew chiefs and drivers.
That was an added bonus to what Brad was asking for, because he's just glad that he could see now with the sun being gone, but it's a bonus that things have cooled down.
Seeing's important.
It can be, extremely.
When you have a left turn to make with a concrete wall in front of you.
We'll see if they run faster now that they're able to see. Sometimes when you can't see, well, you don't brake as hard.
Oh, I missed that braking point, but that worked out pretty good.
Yeah, that was all right.
I just learned a new braking point.
Only problem is they couldn't see it, so they don't know where that was.
The old 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi method.
Yes.
Oh, no, that's college football this year. I'm sorry. At least it was. Matt Kenseth posts an early number, 141.2 miles an hour.
Good lap. A little bit quicker than he ran the first round.
And we'll see if even after a cycle on these tires, if the second lap is still a little faster than the first.
Yep. Now, throw this out there. No winner on the new configuration here has started better than ninth. Kevin Harvick did that here last year in this race. So as important as this is, some of those drivers want those bonus points that are up there. Want to get to the pole, though.
You can see Matt picked it up quite a bit, a 38 on that second lap.
So Matt is the early leader. Brian Vickers the only other driver to make a run. And Brian is about a 10th off of Kenseth's pace. A few moments ago, Dave Burns caught up with Carl Edwards, the first driver to miss the cut in the first round of qualifying.
Carl Edwards will start 13th. Carl, what were you battling in qualifying?
We didn't battle very much in qualifying. The car was a lot closer. The battle for us was we were very slow in practice, and Jimmy and the guys did a great job. They basically rolled the dice, changed about 6 things, and it worked. So that was like, for us, that was straight off of the trailer. And I'm really proud of the guys for getting it right. Now we'll go work on race trim. And I know 13th's not great, but considering I thought we were going to be about 25th, I'm real happy with it.
Our in-race reporter for Sunday, a big pickup over his practice times.
We were talking earlier that at one point last Sunday at Texas, Carl was in deep, deep trouble, and the events of the finish and all the late cautions and the topsy-turviness of things really worked in his favor. And now he's got a shot. He's got a shot here on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't know that the end of that change from those last 29 laps benefited anyone any more than Carl Edwards. Certainly some got hurt quite a bit in that situation, but Carl Edwards was on the way outside looking in, but made a miraculous comeback there to get the finish that he did was just amazing.
Kevin Harvick is sitting down at the end of pit road along with Kyle Busch. Kurt Busch and Denny Hamlin headed there to join in. We'll see if anybody goes on the racetrack in a minute, or if this is going to be one of those days where everybody waits until we're down to the final 2 minutes of qualifying and then all rushes out together.
It's hard to imagine there's going to be enough track temp change in the last 6.5 minutes of this session.
It is changing. It's changing pretty quickly, though. We heard Joey Myers, spotter for Brad Kozlowski, say that it was a drastic difference in air temp. And with that sun off the track, I mean, it's on its way down. It is changing.
Denny's going to go. Kyle Busch followed him out, and now Kevin Harvick is rolling from the end of the pit lane. Dave Burns brought this up when we were having a conversation the other day, but how about the call by Darian Grubb with the right side tires for the track position for Denny? While he didn't hold the track position, he did lead the race and get a bonus point for the championship. And think about now this Sunday, where 1 point might make the difference between going to Homestead in the championship or being left out.
Now, there was a couple of calls, some strategy calls last week that worked out. That was one of them. Another one was Paul Wolf when he left Brad Kozlowski on the racetrack.
Yeah.
Both of those seemed to work out really well for them, and it's got them both in the middle of the picture here.
Kevin Harvick to the top of the board. Denny Hamlin second, both running second laps. Kyle Busch fourth, also running a second lap.
Getting close to another track record. Oh, nope, just missed it. Just a tad slower on his second lap there.
So Joey Logano ran 142.141 miles an hour in the first session, and Hamlin was 142.113. Time difference on that, a 3.27 to a 3.32. So that's 5 thousandths of a second. Brad Kozlowski.
He carried a lot of speed down in there, but he paid the price there.
Yeah, I saw that same thing trend in turn one. Looked like he made up time getting in the corner, gave up more than what he gained on the exit.
Second lap still been faster for everybody in this session. Brad on his second. Here's Joey Logano.
This could be a track record right here. He can hold this pace. Not able to hold it, though. That's third for Logano right now.
Got another lap to go for Joey, probably. Jeff Gordon clocks in sixth with his first lap. Brad Kozlowski jumps up to second.
P2, 25.33.
Kyle Larson also on the clocks now, eighth on his first lap. Here's Logano for the second of the run. It's close. Just lost it a little bit off of four.
Once again, both laps, that's where he lost time to Denny Hamlin's speed.
And for Jeff Gordon, second lap a little slower this time. Kyle Larson, second lap. A little slower. So now Paul Menard and Casey Mears are the 2 of the 12 that have yet to post a lap. Menard is on the racetrack now. Haven't seen Mears yet.
Mears had to go out really late in that first session. I'm sure they're waiting to get everything cooled down as much as they possibly can before they make their effort.
Menard 11th out of 11 that have run here. You can't wait too much longer if you're the 13, by the way, because that clock is ticking. Menard jumps up to 10th out of 11. Casey Mears' team had to push that 13 car off to get it fired. Couldn't get it cranked, but he's headed out onto the racetrack now. Jamie?
Matt Kenseth fifth right now. One shot and you were done. You've been pretty happy, though, in practice and qualifying. How is the car? How was it once the sun went down in particular?
Yeah, if we could do it again and have the same set of tires, I think we could definitely make it better. There was a couple adjustments we needed there once the sun went down. But overall, our Dollar General Camry's been much closer here than what we've been the last couple times. Pretty happy with it. Race trim drove pretty decent. Speeds were decent. So glad this will be a good spot to start, and hopefully we get it all tuned up for Sunday tomorrow.
All right, Matt Kenseth 5th right now, but he predicts he's going to end up about 8th, Alan.
Well, Casey Mears. Yeah, Casey Mears has got a postal lap. Brian Vickers is out for another run. Vickers does not improve any. Casey is 12th out of 12 with another lap to go at least. I'm not seeing anybody making, well, here's Kyle Busch backing out of his stall, so he's going to go out and take another shot at it. Brad Keselowski also backing out of his stall to head out onto the racetrack in the final minute. Brian Vickers jumps up to 9th. Casey Mears stays in 12th. Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski on the speedway.
Kyle Busch, the only thing separating our 6 chasers that are in this round from taking the top 6 spots.
And Kyle Larson just screamed off the pit road out onto the racetrack to take another shot at it also.
They have to hustle around here, but I believe he'll be able to make it back.
He'll get 1 lap, but I don't think he'll get 2. So here's Kyle Busch to set a time. See if he can move up from 6th. He does not. And Brad Keselowski to set a time.
Looks like he's really just struggling with grip off the corner.
Denny, you can run a second one if you want. Keep digging.
Yeah, and what we're seeing is Denny Hamlin made an outstanding turn, middle of turn 3, exit of turn 4, back to the start-finish line. That's where everybody's losing time to him.
Yeah, you saw right there how Keselowski was in the green through the entrance and through the middle of 1 and 2.
Kyle Busch does not move up from 6th. Kyle Larson 8th. And here comes Brad Keselowski. And he won't go any faster. So qualifying is over here at Phoenix, and Denny Hamlin has his 3rd pole of this season. And the only driver who has yet to post a top 5 finish in the chase that's still championship eligible is going to start from 1st on Sunday.
And he doesn't have to post one on Sunday to make it through to be in the battle for the championship at Homestead.
Go ahead, Dave.
Did I detect astonishment in your voice when you saw that time and thinking maybe that's going to stick?
I definitely didn't think it was, but I was really hoping just to back up what we ran the previous run with the 42, I think it was. But, you know, hit my marks perfectly, and the adjustments kept getting better and better. And, you know, Darian and Wheels and the whole team, FedEx ground team, just kept making my car better and allowed me to drive harder and harder. And that's a big surprise.
Well, with the comeback last week and now this, how you feeling about Sunday?
I feel great. Obviously, we showed up today and had decent speed in race trim, not great speed, but decent speed. But we didn't show decent speed in qualifying, and it just showed us today that it's possible. So we got it in our car. We just got to get it for 312 laps now.
It's possible. That might be the theme for this weekend, AB.
Absolutely. So a look at the top 12 starters for Sunday's 9th race in the chase. Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski on the front row.
Going to be a great battle to start the race. That bonus point means a lot for leading early.
And lots more is still to come till the top of the hour from here at Phoenix after Sprint Cup qualifying is completed. And here at Phoenix International Raceway, a look at the 8 drivers championship eligible as they go into the final race to determine who the Title 4 will be at Homestead, Miami next week. And where they start, you see Ryan Newman and Carl Edwards deepest in the field. Everybody else clustered right up there at the front of the grid, including the entire top 5. Dave?
And that will include Joey Logano. We were just taking a look at timing and scoring there. 4th for you this afternoon. What was it lacking in the final run?
We just lost some turn in the center, which it's maybe pointed wrong on the exit and then got free off. So a little unfortunate. It's the second time we came here in the spring and got a track record and then didn't get the pole. And once again, we get the track record and don't get on the pole. So that part's a little frustrating, but overall we're doing what we need to do. We need to go out here and run up towards the front all day, and we're starting up there, and that's good spot for our Shell Pennzoil Ford. We just got to figure out this second round thing. We've won a lot of first rounds this year and haven't made it happen there in the second or third round. So just got to figure that one out a little bit.
You get a full day of practice tomorrow. Where's the focus need to be for your team?
Same stuff we work on every other week. We got to focus on making sure our car's good in the race. Maybe that won't make us the fastest in practice, but we got to try to make sure we can race well with this car. And I felt good in race trim earlier today in practice, and I feel like we got something we can race them with. So just fine tune it a little bit tomorrow and not get too crazy.
Joey Logano, top 5 starting position for the race on Sunday. Jamie?
Well, Jeff Gordon will start 7th on Sunday. And you guys tested here and you were lights out, but then you unload and you weren't in that same ballpark. So how did it end up here for you in qualifying?
Yeah, we didn't make any qualifying runs, so we didn't have any expectations there. But, yeah, we definitely expected the car to be a little bit better in practice today. It had such good grip cut in the middle when we were here testing. That's what we were lacking a little bit of today. So the balance was off, but the team made some good adjustments, and especially even right there for qualifying, that was a good improvement. And just needed another chunk there, and we'd be right there. So I'm pretty optimistic about tomorrow and getting it right for Sunday.
Jeff, you've been through this before. National frenzy after that brouhaha at the end of the race. Everybody wondering retaliation. In reality, is that something on your mind, or are you just focused on doing what you need to do?
No, I'm just focused on what we need to do. That's win this race. The biggest statement you can make is go out there and perform under these kinds of situations, circumstances, and pressure. And that's what this team has been doing all year long, is stepping up when it mattered most. I'm looking forward to us doing that with our Exalta Chevrolet this Sunday.
And he's done it here at Phoenix 2 times before. Alan?
Jamie, thanks. Jeff Gordon starting in 7th position on Sunday, chasing a place in the Championship 4, headed to the season finale at Homestead Miami Speedway. More to come from Phoenix in a minute.
This is it. Last call. Last stop. Last chance.
Have a good day, boys. You do what we do.
One bad decision undoes a season full of good ones.
Contact Gordon and Keselowski.
One bad pit stop zeroes out all the great ones.
That was a disaster.
One wrong move, and the cup is lost.
Trouble hits him and Harvick around.
Things go from bad to worse for Logano.
Hope for tomorrow remains. If you figure out today.
And as you look at the beautiful sunset setting here in Phoenix, we remind you that tomorrow the NASCAR Nationwide Series Championship could be clinched by Chase Elliott, although Regan Smith will try to keep that from happening. In the 200-miler, you'll see on ESPN starting at 3:30 Eastern Time. Then Sunday, the 9th race in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup, the Quicken Loans Race for Heroes 500, also on ESPN starting at 2 Eastern Time. The field of 8 title contenders to be cut down to 4 at the end of Sunday's race. Who will be championship eligible for the finale at Homestead Miami Speedway? DJ, Andy, you've both been in these championship situations before. Maybe not quite in this format with the pressure that we've seen, but in this situation before. Talk first about Chase Elliott on Saturday. You've had a chance to lock up a title with another race yet to go in the season. What will be going through his mind tonight as he gets ready for tomorrow's race?
I would imagine there's a little anxiety there, thinking about the opportunity that he has become the first rookie and the youngest of any of the 3 NASCAR series. But I think that he showed so much poise all year that he's ready to handle this. I heard him after practice, though, not be very happy with his race car, but he doesn't have to do a whole lot tomorrow, just be kind of average for them, and he'll be the champion. So it's a great feeling knowing that you have 2 races to make it happen, but you really want to get that over with. You'd like to go to that last race, and his last race would be Homestead as the champion. Makes it a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah, and I talked to Chase Elliott yesterday about that. I said, look, you don't really need to do anything spectacular, just have a solid race. But he says, yeah, but that's easier said than done. He knows that, anything can happen in these races, and he really wants to try to lock it up tomorrow.
And as for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race on Sunday, you've been saying since January 30th that we had never seen a situation like we were going to see this year. With everything that's gone on already, what will we see here on Sunday?
Yeah, hard to say what I'm at a loss for words. I mean, every single week since Chicago, we've seen this ramp up, and I understand the drivers still saying, some of them, trying to convince themselves more than anything else that, they race under pressure all the time. They try to win all the time. But this is a huge amount of pressure. And we've seen it each and every week. The amount of mistakes that have been made, the things we've seen happen on the racetrack, the great things we've seen from some of these drivers to get themselves in position to still be a part of this battle, and then the things that we've seen after the race take place. So I have no idea. I just know I'm glad I'm here for at least 312 laps of great racing on Sunday.
Yeah, it's going to take more than just a solid race for all 8 of these guys. It's going to come down to one decision. It's going to take one move that they decide to make on the racetrack, and it's not going to be decided until they get the checker flag. And I'd like you, I've never seen pressure like this in the garage. You can feel it. The intensity level of the guys that are working on those race cars is like I've never seen before. It's going to be, if it can be any better than it was, I think it can. It can be even more intense. And then when we get to Homestead, I mean, hold on.
And the pressure will be not just on the drivers, but on the crew chiefs, because the strategy calls have been critical here at Phoenix the last few races we've seen here. Jamie is with Brad Keselowski's crew chief, Paul Wolfe.
And Paul Wolfe, a lot on the line just to get the car right and get the setup right. And you guys did your job in qualifying, starting on the front row. But, Paul, you guys have been in this situation before where on-track incidents kind of dictate your outcome. Do you have any concerns on Sunday?
Biggest concern is just making our middle light forward fast. And, the guys did a good job so far, with a front row starting spot. And that'll be important for getting a good pit stall. As we know, track position will be big here. So, we wanted the pole, came up a little short, but we'll have a good starting spot and a good pit stall to get started. Now, just got to keep working hard tomorrow and try to continue and carry that speed over into race trim. And if we can do that, all the rest will be behind us, and we'll just go have a good race Sunday.
And it has to be noted, last week on Sunday, your guys, they didn't throw the punches. Roger Penske is very, very keen on not punching. You guys have to act professional in those situations. So with that said, though, there's a lot of talk about Sunday and what this means for your entire year. So what can you do to motivate your guys and keep their head focused on this championship?
Well, I think that's just going out there and having a driver that's going to race hard and go for wins, and that's what Brad does every week, and that's why these guys are here working hard on this race car, because they want to win races, and they did a great job, and obviously we don't like being in that situation we were in Sunday night, but they did a great job of handling that situation the best they could, and we're moving on and putting that behind us.
Okay, so tomorrow is a day full of practice. So what will you guys focus on? Obviously, qualifying, it showed speed, but where do you need to be just a little bit better in practice?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a tough balance of being able to roll that center speed but not get too loose off. And, we were decent here the first race, but a lot of things have changed this point in the season now with this setup's developing more and more. And so we're going to try to build off of what we had the first race and be just a little bit stronger.
All right, Brad Keselowski and this 2 crew just 6 points out, and right now they're looking at it as a must-win situation on Sunday, Alan.
Going to be a fascinating day for sure. Phoenix International Raceway all lit up. Still got a NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race to go tonight. Denny Hamlin, the man of the hour, though, Sprint Cup Series pole winner. Back live, Phoenix International Raceway on a spectacular Friday night, where NASCAR Sprint Cup Series qualifying has just wrapped up to set the starting field for Sunday's 9th race in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Denny Hamlin, your pole sitter, Brad Keselowski second, Kevin Harvick third. And with all the conversation this week about what happened in the aftermath of the Texas race last Sunday, Brad trying to shoot the gap between Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon, the cut tire on the 24 car, and then the post-race conversation afterwards, we'll call it. Precipitated, by the way, by the little nudge from Kevin Harvick to Brad to kind of get in the middle of things. And a lot of the line of questioning for Brad Keselowski this week has been about the reactions he expects other drivers to have based on comments that they've made throughout the week this week in this race on Sunday and potentially in the championship round at Homestead Miami Speedway. Brad just speaking to the media after qualifying second in this one and addressed that issue.
I know I probably need to win the race. That's my concern. And I want to have the most speed I can have. I want to have the best execution, whether that's restarts, pit road. Those are my concerns. Beyond that, I haven't put any thought into it. my answer to all that other junk is, I plan on being in the sport for a long time, and whatever happens there, I'll get through it like I have this past week. And if something was to happen, which is doubtful, so I don't feel too bad about that.
So that's the reaction of Brad Keselowski to the issue of how he expects others to race him on Sunday. Brad qualifying second. Kevin Harvick qualified third. The winner here back on March the 2nd is standing by with Dave.
And he was fastest in practice, so to the qualifying laps out there, Kevin, in the final round, what was lacking?
I just didn't hit everything on both laps. I got up the racetrack a little bit. The first lap in turn 1, second lap got up the racetrack a little bit in turn 3 and 4. So just missed it by just a little bit. But our Budweiser Chevrolet is really good in race trim and really looking forward to the race. So just got to keep tweaking on it tomorrow and know that I think we qualified 13th here the first time and drove to the lead. So we just got to keep doing what we're doing and everything will be fine.
Can I go back to the first session? This down the front straightaway, I mean, is that planned, or did you just get out there and go, holy cow, I got to put my hand up?
Yeah, well, that's you've kind of had to do that here at Phoenix a lot, because you know that going down the front straightaway at that time of day, the sun's going to be really bad. So at some point in the race, you'll probably have to do the same thing, and hopefully the shadows don't move too fast, because that'll be your reference point as you go into the corner. You have to look at the ground. So it's just part of this racetrack. And first time out, I couldn't believe it actually ran that fast. I way overdrove the corner. I thought I was going to go way out of the groove, but all in all, our car has been really fast. Just didn't connect all the dots today, but really looking forward to race trim.
5-time winner's got a good starting spot. Jamie?
And Kyle Larson mixing it up there in the top 10, qualified 8th, so your second time around. How is the car? How do you expect it to race? You said obviously it qualified pretty well.
We started out practice in race trim, and we weren't very good at all. We were really tight, and then right before we went to mock qualifying, we made a lot of changes and got the Target Chevy better. So I think our car and qualifying trim is better than race trim, but we still have a lot of practice left to work on it, so we should be okay.
A lot of work to do. Look at the mustache for Movember. Kyle Larson looking a little bit older than his years, Alan.
He came back on Twitter the other day and said that he hoped it would grow in and look halfway decent by the end of the month. And Jamie called him out on it right away. All right, here's the starting grid for Sunday's Quicken Loans Race for Heroes 500. The entire top 5 and 6 of the top 7 include championship-eligible drivers.
Yeah, and can't express enough the importance of getting up and trying to lead a lap to get that bonus point, how much it could mean at the end of Sunday's race.
Ryan Newman back there in row number 10. And a lot of work to do on Sunday, but then he hasn't shied from that challenge this entire chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup for sure. So that's how they'll go to the green Sunday in the Quicken Loans Race for Heroes 500. Reminder again, championship on the line tomorrow in the NASCAR Nationwide Series 200-miler here in Phoenix, ESPN at 3:30 Eastern. And Sunday, the ninth race in the chase on ESPN at 2 Eastern time from here in Phoenix. College football primetime presented by Jimmy John's is next. Utah State and Wyoming. Denny Hamlin, the pole sitter for Sunday's Sprint Cup Series race.